Well, good morning and welcome into the Farzy Show, folks. A couple minutes late here. I think producer Jim's computer exploded, so here I am. A little late, better late than never, as they say. If there was a theme to today's show, I'm reminded of a little thing that went on here with a little video game called NBA Jam. And if you're close to my generation, maybe, then you'd get this reference. There was the voiceover guy who I actually got the interview one time. Pretty awesome dude. But there was a constant phrase. There was a couple, let's see, there was, is it the shoes? And then he's on fire. And then the other one was the nail in the coffin. And I believe that would come in around like the fourth quarter if you were beating whoever you were playing and you hit a three or a dunk that puts you up a certain amount, with a certain amount of time left in the game. And you would hear the guy go again, it's the nail in the coffin. That would describe yesterday's events in Philadelphia sports. The nail in the coffin. One for the Philadelphia Phillies and the other for Ben Simmons' time in Philadelphia. Because one happened at the hands of the Atlanta Braves, who swept the Phillies out of Atlanta and also out of the NL East race. And then the other happened when Joel Embiid uttered the words that he uttered regarding Ben Simmons and how the Sixers have catered their teams in recent years to Ben Simmons' needs, which, guess what? He's 100% right. There's one thing the Sixers have done to cater to Joel Embiid's needs, which is make sure they had a decent backup center for the events where Joel Embiid had load management or he was hurt, and they did somebody else to come in. Al Horford was an attempt at that. You know who else was? Dwight Howard was an attempt at that. But everything else, getting the amount of shooters that they've gotten in here over the years, that was all because of Ben Simmons' lack of willingness to shoot. Not even a lack, just not being willing to shoot the basketball, even a little bit. That's what it came down to. So listening to Joel Embiid yesterday, I would stand up and applaud that man for what he said about Ben Simmons. Because I believe, first off, I told you last week that the moment where he threw his hands up in the air and said, Ben, guess what? You're not coming back here. It was the moment where he was asked, so what would you want to see from Ben if he did end up coming back here? And he answered at the press conference last week by simply saying, oh, you know what I would say? Actually, it was Monday. You know what I would say? This is what I would say. I would say, the stuff that happened in the videos, the stuff we see on the video post online, if he did that, that would help. That was definitely a moment of screw this. I know he's not coming back. I know he's holding out. I know he's not going to play another game for the 76ers. I know he's not going to be my teammate again. Screw this. Do the stuff in the videos. He said what every single Twitter troll, whatever, every critic of Ben Simmons says. Oh, that's cute. Do it in the videos. How about you do it in the game? Do it in the offseason where you're the NBA player of the month for the month of August. How about doing it in a regular season game? And you go back and you think about it. I've referenced this before. The Guangzhou Long Lions preseason game, the exhibition. Joel Embiid is the guy that was standing there at the perimeter who passed the ball to Ben Simmons and was just like, shoot that, man. Shoot it. And he shot it, hit the three, and the place went berserk. The place went bonkers at the Wells Fargo Center. So Joel Embiid has done stuff like this before, not to this extent in press conferences. So then he goes out yesterday to address the media, and it is something amazing. Here is Joel Embiid, courtesy of Jeff Skversky of 6ABC. Here is Joel Embiid's comments. I know you've seen him in print a lot. Here he is saying what he said yesterday about Ben Simmons and the team catering to Ben Simmons' needs. And if this isn't a screw you, Ben, I don't know what is. Here's Joel Embiid yesterday.
Teams have always been built around his needs. So it was kind of surprising to see, what was said. And even going back to, the reason we signed out is, we got rid of Jimmy, which I think it was a mistake, just to make sure that, he needed the ball in his hands, and that's the decision they made. Like I said, it is surprising, but I'm really focused on the guys that are here. The situation is weird, disappointing, borderline kind of disrespectful to all the guys that are out here, fighting for their lives. Some guys rely on, the team to be successful, to stay in the league and make money somehow. Because if you're on a winning team, you're always going to have a spot in the league.
When it comes to their careers, it comes to their lives, he's not kidding. I mean, you can make a career off just being on a winning team and being a guy that's, oh, well, he was on that Sixers team that did really well. He was on that Spurs team that did really well. Maybe he'll work out here. That kind of thing. It does definitely. It's a nice thing to have on the resume, as they say to college kids just getting ready to graduate. Oh, yeah, do that internship. It's a good thing to have on the resume. Same thing here. If you play on a successful basketball team in the NBA, guys are going to think highly of it. It's not breaking news. It's an obvious thing. So Joel Embiid going down that road is saying, yeah, Ben, you're being selfish. And when he says it's flat out disrespectful, you're damn right it's disrespectful. I am hardly the one to go down the avenue of, you signed a contract, honor that contract. Because things change. Should you be as educated as possible when you sign that deal as to what the market could be? Absolutely. But when you're getting a rookie max deal at $170 million and you haven't even learned to shoot yet, or, sorry, I have to correct myself because I really hate that he needs to learn to shoot, or Ben, he needs to become a better shooter. Ben's actually an okay jump shooter. He can do it. He actually is okay at shooting threes too. You know what? The fact that he won't do it is the scarier part. The fact that he won't do it is the part that makes me want him out of Philadelphia even faster. The fact that he chooses not to do it, even though it would help the team, let's get that go. Now, foul shooting wise, oh yeah, he can't do that. 34% in the playoffs. We all know the numbers by now. We know him pretty well. Yeah, that's something he can't do. That's something I'd love to see him improve upon. And the other thing is we had that little tease in February where he shot over 70% from the foul line. That was a tease. I was hoping that was him turning the corner. Not the case. So I also love that Joel Embiid hasn't gotten over the fact that the Sixers moved on from Jimmy Butler. I find that enjoyable. I don't know why. Because I think we all wish Jimmy Butler was still here in Philadelphia, because Jimmy Butler was a guy that was holding everybody accountable. And that's also probably why Ben didn't like him, aside from the fact that Brett Brown put the ball in Jimmy Butler's hands at the end of a game. Why did he do that? Because he had more confidence in Jimmy Butler helping this team win than anything else. Whether it was the ball in his hands, making better decisions as a facilitator, or a guy that wasn't afraid to drive to the basket, a guy that wasn't afraid to pull up and shoot a jump shot and a mid-range shot, whatever it might have been, he had more confidence in Jimmy Butler handling this offense than he did Ben Simmons. But Ben Simmons should have been happy under Brett Brown if he would have known what the future was going to hold. At least his ass was on the court in the fourth quarter, late in that game against Toronto Raptors. So maybe if you look at hindsight a little bit there, Ben, you would have been appreciative maybe a little bit more of Brett Brown. Now, here's what I do appreciate about that whole Brett Brown era with Ben Simmons. The whole era, like it just ended a year ago, whatever. But Brett said that he's the only guy to really publicly challenge Ben Simmons. And I know a lot of people look back on Brett and say, oh, Brett, let him get away with this. I don't know what any other coach, including Doc Rivers, is supposed to do when a player feels like he has the bat phone, as they refer to it, the big red phone that can call ownership who you're hanging out with in luxury suites and NFL games and Super Bowls, whatever it might be. Ben felt entitled since the moment he got here. There's not much more he could do from this point going forward, other than feeling coddled, feeling entitled, and feeling like he could say, you know what, I'm done here, despite the deal, despite the contract, despite the confidence that the organization has shown in you. And going back to Joel Embiid's points, and flat out allowing you to disrespect the rest of this roster. He knows how good this team can be with Ben Simmons taking that next step forward, improving his game. He knows. Do you think he wants to hit the reset button with anybody else coming in here to Philadelphia? No. I think he wants to, as they say, run it back, and he's not going to get the opportunity to do that. And some of that now is due to Joel Embiid. Now, I never thought that it was going to be easy to bring Ben Simmons back, but with Joel Embiid saying what he said yesterday, the nail is in the coffin. It's over. Now, remember that guy, Brian Windhorst, who came out a couple of weeks ago and was like, hey, Ben Simmons, it's not his job to fix his trade value. That's the message Ben sent back to the Sixers. Well, Windy, as we know him, he's the guy that is definitely in the pocket of LeBron James and Clutch Sports and all that. And that's, of course, the representation that Ben Simmons has. So whenever I hear Brian Windhorst talk about anything with Ben Simmons, I always go, okay, this is the message from Clutch and all that stuff. So Here is the latest message in response to Joel Embiid's courtesy of ESPN yesterday and the jump. Check this out. This is Wendy yesterday.
Yeah, so there's two things to look at. I mean, you can look at what he's saying, which there's some merit to, and we can discuss that if you want. But really, Embiid spending time talking and thinking about this and creating another distraction is a win today for Ben Simmons, because the way that this gets settled for Ben Simmons is if the status quo becomes uncomfortable for the Sixers. Every single day that Ben Simmons distracts from what the Sixers are doing becomes something that's a problem. It pushes the Sixers closer to make a trade. And I realize we're only on day 3 here and it's not at a critical mass, but Joel Embiid expressing this frustration, Doc Rivers having to answer for a quote that he gave back in June. All of these things are the reasons why a holdout works and why it's designed to do this. And so today, ring one up in Ben Simmons' column, because the Sixers had to spend time away from their day worrying about it.
Like, could it be more obvious? The mouthpiece. It's a mouthpiece for Clutch Sports and all those guys, all those guys. That's what it is. Like people were saying, like Kendrick Perkins, what does he know? That whole thing. Well, Kendrick Perkins had somebody in Ben Simmons' camp. I don't think it was Wendy by any means, but he had somebody in Ben Simmons' camp because my mic freaks out. There we go. But that's whenever you hear these guys talk about the particular camp and they seem to be getting it right every single time, like Kendrick Perkins did, or like Windhorst did, then you could actually give them some credibility here. They've had this Ben Simmons thing down as far as what his next move was going to be in the NBA and with the 76ers. They have had it down pat. But now to come out and say this is a win for Ben, and here's the worst part about it. He's right. And I think Joel Embiid is smart enough to know that before he says the comments. He does not give a damn anymore about Ben Simmons. Because you know what? For Joel Embiid, here's the thing. He obviously he wants to win. I don't put that past him. But the other thing he also likes is accolades, right? If Ben Simmons isn't here, Joel Embiid is going to become even, I think, more of a scorer, more of a showcased player. Because whoever's going to come in here, even if it's just Tyrese Maxey running the point, guess who he's going to be going to all the time? And guess who's going to be under the basket a lot more because he's not going to have somebody crashing the paint every single possession? Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid will get more put back. He'll get more points. His numbers will actually go up without Ben Simmons because he is not as reliant on the three-point game, on the outside game, as he would be with Ben Simmons constantly crashing the lane. So his numbers will actually go up. His value will go up. And guess what? He'll turn even more heads because if Ben leaves, when Ben leaves, when he gets traded, the focus from around the league will be on Joel Embiid. Oh, without Ben Simmons, what are they going to do? Because they're not getting Dame Lillard. They're not getting that top-tier talent that we all want them to get. They're not going to get that. They're going to get drastically undervalue for Ben Simmons in that trade if you would have actually had him play a couple of games for you this season or at least play up until the trade deadline. So when that happens, the rest of the league's going to be looking at the Sixers and looking at Joel Embiid to see how far he can take this team with as far a step back as the roster has taken with Ben not being here any longer. So this actually helps Joel Embiid's case. So I think Joel Embiid's at a case where he's just like, I'm done, man. Look, this is my piece. This is what I'll say about it. I'll answer your questions. But when it comes to everybody else out here on the court, you're being disrespectful to these guys. You signed the contract. You got the deal. You got a hell of a deal despite not shooting a basketball. They made an investment in you. And now all of a sudden you're like, we can't play together? What? Sixers were a 1 seed last year with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Sixers with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons have made it to the second round of the playoffs. Game 7, where they've lost to a team that actually played pretty well. The Raptors won a championship. The Atlanta Hawks battled the eventual champions, the Bucks, to the end. So there were some good teams you lost to, unfortunately. They should have still beaten the Hawks. But they didn't lose to the Hawks because of lack of effort from Joel Embiid. They lost to the Hawks because Ben Simmons disappeared. And that's not because of Joel Embiid. Last time I checked, Joel Embiid's not standing there at the foul line with Ben Simmons there going, all right, how are you going to miss this shot, Ben? Ben, are you going to make this? Ben, all the pressure's on you. That's Ben Simmons is standing there at the free throw line alone. He makes his free throws in that series. He doesn't go, 1 for 15 or whatever the hell it was in game 1 of that series. He doesn't do that. Sixers are looking a lot better. A lot better. Making it to an Eastern Conference Finals, at least for the first time since Allen Iverson was playing here. Ridiculous. It seems that some people have caught up with us here on social media. We'll check in with our social media people coming up in just a minute. Look forward to that as per usual. John McMullen, by the way, joins the show here at the Steven Singer Studios. John McMullen, a great writer for Sports Illustrated, Philly Voice. He also joins me on the live post-game show with Derek Gunn, Devin Caney, as well, and Lane Johnson on the Jacob Media Network, Jacob Media YouTube channel, as well as 6abc.com. So I look forward to catching up with John McMullen coming up in just a couple. To continue with today's theme of the show, I see you guys liking the props today. This is an actual hammer. I actually build stuff. Build my daughter a bench, as a matter of fact. One of them nice benches that goes around a tree outside your row home in Philly. That's how I like to do things. Anyway, so the nail is in the coffin there. The nail is also in the coffin of the Phillies. Now, if you're like me and you kind of saw this coming, and you were in check-in status with the Phillies, so you still checked in to see what was going on. Well, you check in last night, and they get a bases loaded situation in the third inning. They couldn't do anything with it. And then the Braves just went off the rails, or not off the rails. They put the Phillies off the rails in the fifth inning, I believe it was. But I'm checking in on the Phils. And I just, like I said, I saw this coming. And look, a month and a half ago, I guess it was, Phillies are winning 8 games, almost 2 months ago now. Phillies are winning 8 games in a row. They're in first place. They're feeling great about themselves. We're feeling good about them as well. My message 2 months ago was, okay, Joe Girardi has to be the difference here. Joe Girardi was hired to be the difference from Gabe Kapler and falling apart in September to now Joe Girardi keeping them together in September, pushing through and winning the division, or at least making the playoffs. That's why Joe Girardi was hired. That falls on a manager. But ultimately, the players have to perform. And Bryce Harper performed. And that's about it. Zach Wheeler performed. That's about it. Yeah. These players didn't perform. Andrew McCutchen, almost a 30 home run season for that man. Good for him. Still, the rest of the team just did not get it done. They did not look like a playoff team. And something about September and this team is just haunting. And I know people look at Aaron Nola and they go, oh, Aaron Nola's numbers are terrible in September. He had a terrible year. By Aaron Nola's standard, he had a god-awful year. Did you ever look at him and go, there's the Aaron Nola, here's that stretch we've been waiting for, where he has that incredible month where he's amazing and nobody can hit him and he can't score runs on him. You never had that stretch this year. You had maybe 2 starts where you went, oh, hey, good for Aaron Nola. He put 2 starts together. But you never saw that dominant performance from Aaron Nola that we were waiting for all season long. We never saw that stretch from him, that great run from him where he just looked like he was unhittable. Zach Wheeler was your best pitcher by far this year, got himself into the Cy Young conversation. You have Bryce Harper getting himself into the MVP conversation. Really, these guys those guys were great. Everybody else underperformed. And when I saw Rhys Hoskins go down, I thought if it does come down to it where they get to a point where they're within striking distance at the end of the year of first place, not having Rhys Hoskins is actually going to be the nail in the coffin for them. Turns out it was just overall September. But Joe Girardi did address the media after the game, as he does every single time, and he talked about what this team is going through, including himself as a manager.
I always take responsibility, full responsibility, and I failed, and it's a really empty feeling because there's a lot of time that goes into this and a lot of work that everybody puts into, and it's just really, it stinks. It hurts, right? I mean, we've been going at this, really since the last day of last year, from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, and it hurts. We got to get better. I mean, that's the bottom line. We need to break this. We'll go to work on doing that.
I never thought I'd say this in September. I never thought I'd say this. I want to hug Joe Girardi. The man needs a hug. He also needs a bullpen. He also needs better players. But the man needs a hug above all else right now. He also needs to manage the bullpen better. I am no huge Joe Girardi fan, but I'm also not someone who's going to put the complete onus on him. I did say it was up to him to keep this team focused. He wasn't able to do that. As a professional athlete, you shouldn't need someone to keep you focused, but it seems to be the case in every aspect of sport. We were talking about it the other day with our friend Trey Thomas when Trey told us about that bulletin board material, Nick Sirianni and the Beat Dallas shirt. Like, you don't do that. And my whole thing from that was that when you look at professional athletes, what I gather about bulletin board material is that you never give another team reason to focus. You want them to lose focus. Like, that bulletin board material helps them pull focus and zero in on their task at hand. And for whatever reason, Joe Girardi wasn't able to be that guy for this Phillies team this year. Losing Rhys Hoskins was the start of the nail. The Braves were the hammer. So, to continue that analogy. Eagles, how about that? They play on Sunday against Kansas City Chiefs. So that's going to go down. I'm not looking forward to that game. I'm not looking forward. Part of it is, the Eagles always have that game that you really expect them to win. The other team doesn't have a chance. The Minnesota Vikings game, the Chip Kelly era comes to mind. There was a game against the Oakland Raiders about 12 years ago in Oakland, the then Oakland Raiders. I believe it was Zach Wilson who just went off on them. There was a lot of stuff that you look at back on the Eagles and games they lost that they should have won. I'm really hoping one of these games is that game. I'm hoping this game is that game for the Kansas City Chiefs. It ain't it, though, because I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs losing 3 in a row. And old radio buddy of mine, Chris DeGaulle, hit me up, and he said, hey, he's from Kansas City, and he goes, hey, do you want to do a hit with some of my radio friends in Kansas City, a sports radio station out there in KC? I said, yeah, man, absolutely. I said, will they pay me in barbecue? Because I happen to be a big fan of Gates Barbecue. If you ever find yourself in Kansas City, Gates sampler platter, have yourself a time. It's delicious. Double down on the brisket. The ham ain't worth it, though. Anyway, so I do the hit, and these guys, as you would imagine, are very confident. And I guess they thought that I was going to be like, rah, Eagles. And here's what I really appreciate. Boston's like this a little bit. New York's like this a little bit. But I feel like we, as I always say, we passed the best friend test. Like, we're always honest. So when I came in with, oh, no, Eagles, they have no chance in this game. They were like, oh, really? Tell us why. I was like, well, let's look at the offensive line. Let's start it right there in that trench, and I'll do that with you right now. What are we supposed to be getting from Landon Dickerson at this point? I don't know. He's hurt, and we don't know if he's playing left guard or right guard. Isaac Seumalo's out, which is why that question's even there. Jack Driscoll might be getting you some reps here at the left guard or right guard position. Okay. Andre Dillard's going to put 2 good starts together. All right, I'll cross my fingers for that. And we don't know what we're getting penalty-wise in total from this offensive line. Fingers crossed. All of a sudden, the coach is going to start running the ball because he learned from his mistake against the Dallas Cowboys in that blowout. All right, we'll cross our fingers for that one. Defensively, Jonathan Gannon, a guy I had big hopes for, a guy I thought was actually going to be blitzing and not relying on his defensive line to get penetration, hasn't really been doing that. Now he's been solely like Jim Schwartz, waiting for his defensive linemen to get penetration. Thank God Javon Hargrave is having himself a season. Thank God for that. And Fletcher Cox still getting double teamed and all that. But you still don't have Brandon Graham. I'm still waiting for Josh Sweat to get up there and be a consistent pass rusher, not just a flash in the pan guy here every once in a while. To me, there's just so many holes, so many problems with this team. There is no way I can look at the Kansas City Chiefs and go, oh, yeah, they got that. This is definitely the Eagles, no problem. And the other reason, if you are looking for any semblance of optimism, but again, I don't see him doing this 3 games in a row. Just like I don't see him losing 3 games in a row, I don't see him turning the ball over the way the Chiefs have turned the ball over. And that's one thing I did tell the KC guys. I said, when you look at that Chiefs team, you look at Edwards-Helaire with his turnovers, you look at Patrick Mahomes with his turnovers. That's the only way the Eagles will have a shot at winning this football game is if the Kansas City Chiefs, you want me to continue with the props? If the Kansas City Chiefs are like, here, take the football. Go ahead, take it. Oh, and run with it too. That's the only way. Now I'm Carrot Top. I bet the board is spelled B-O-R-E-D. Anyway, That's for the Norm fans out there. So that's what we're looking at as far as everything goes with this Eagles team and how they're going to play this game. I do think the new pandering this week will be running the football. And I think it'll be almost to a fault. Be like, hey, no T-shirts this week, no hype videos, just Nick Sirianni running the football every damn play. Like, I wouldn't put it past him even a little bit. More pandering to all of us. Like, no, we don't mean every time, Nick. We just mean occasionally to help out Jalen Hurts. Give that a shot. Let me tell you, here at the Steven Singer Studios. Yeah, you know what, Ray? Keep them coming. Everyone, yeah, go ahead and give me a suggestion here. A prediction for what you think the Eagles are going to do on Sunday. What's the final score of this game coming up here? Hit me up in our comments here, and I'll make sure I read it off on our social media check-in coming up in a second. But let me tell you, before we get to John McMullen, let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers here at the Steven Singer Studios. I'd like to send everybody to Steven Singer Jewelers because I know you're going to get taken care of, and I know you're going to get treated right at Steven Singer. Plus, I also know that you don't have to go into a jewelry store working on your negotiating skills. You're not buying a used car. You're buying a beautiful sparkling diamond. You're buying an engagement ring for your loved one. You're buying a beautiful present for someone special in your life. Beautiful necklace, tennis bracelet, rings, all that, earrings, everything. Beautiful, sparkling diamonds from Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jeweler. You know you're getting great quality, so you know that right out of the gate. You know you're getting the perfect price because I tell you every single day you're getting the perfect price at Steven Singer Jewelers. No promo codes, no haggling, no discounts. Set at the perfect price every single time. So you don't have to worry about if you're paying more than the person next to you. But you also get treated like family. A real jewelry expert is standing by at the ready to walk you through all their beautiful, dazzling inventory. You don't know what you want? Give them some ideas. They'll give you some ideas back, and you guys can have a nice little brainstorming session right there while you look at all the amazing jewelry that they have at Steven Singer Jewelers. Go in there with a couple ideas. They'll walk you through everything, and you get taken care of, and you always feel comfortable. That's the most important thing of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Also online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. All right, without further ado, we're going to get to our social media check-in coming up in just a second, brought to you by Steak and Maine and SteakandMaine.com. We're also going to get into our Morning Rush segment brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com, a car for every budget. But without further ado, I love talking to this man. He's got a brilliant mind for football. He does a great job covering it for all the different outlets. You'll see it in just a second. My friend John McMullen joins the show here on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Guest line from Sports Illustrated, from Philly Voice, but you know him most notably, probably, I would say, from the post-game show, the live post-game show as part of Jacob Media. He also does a show on Jacob Media with my old friend Jody McDonald as well. Welcome to the program for the first time, John McMullen. What's up there, John?
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark. Thrilled to be here.
Good. I just want to make sure I got all the things you do, right? I made sure that I wrote a list down of all the things.
Too many things, man. I'm tired. I haven't shaved. I'm tired. It's like, well, you got the beard going. I don't have the beard going, but I feel like I just got back from Dallas. It's been a rough week.
Well, everybody wants a piece of the Johnny Mac, as they say. So you write for a lot of publications. You do a lot of obviously great sports talk as well. So I'm just thrilled to have you on the program. I'm thrilled to get to talk to you after every Eagles game as part of the Jacob Media Network on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, as well as 6ABC. So I think we've covered it all.
6ABC. Forgot about 6ABC.
There you go. 6abc.com. Now, I want to talk to you about this Eagles team because I am concerned, but I want to cover this first because this is the conversation I think most Eagles fans are having this week. Are you more concerned and more worried about Nick Sirianni as a head coach and play caller, or are you more worried about Jalen Hurts as the quarterback of this football team for at least the rest of this season? What concerns you the most, John McMullen?
That's a good question. I would say Nick more than Jalen. I think this whole season should be about figuring out if Jalen Hurts is the answer for the Philadelphia Eagles. And, you go all the way back to week one where you have it's like an EKG. Everyone's like, oh, this kid's going to be a superstar. I said, slow down. Here we are, week 3. Everyone's like, you got to pull the plug on him. Same thing, slow down. We don't know that much about Jalen Hurts yet. He's just had 7 career starts. He needs to prove he can throw the football down the field. So in a weird way, I think if you're masking deficiencies, which is what Nick Sirianni did well in Atlanta, I don't know if that tells us what we need to know about Jalen Hurts. Now, we know a little bit more about Jalen Hurts. It's not good, but long-term, that's a good thing because you want to figure out, do you have to move on? Do you have to go in a different direction? Do you have to try to convince Deshaun Watson to accept a trade to Philadelphia? Do you have to think about quarterbacks in next year's draft? You got to answer that question. With Nick himself, these last two games, bad game plans. You know what most concerned me about Dallas, Mark, was he explained it as, I knew Dallas was going to score some points, which I did as well. I think we all did. And he thought he had to keep up. I'm like, you don't have the ammunition to keep up. You got to go in a different direction. You got to shorten the game. You got to run the football. And what happens? He runs it. Now, that's a Philadelphia staple. Let's be honest. This is not 1985. You can't run the football and win consistently in the NFL. Mm-hmm. You have a small margin for victory if you do that. But there are certain games, and when you're outmanned offensively, as they certainly were by Dallas, even more so this week with Kansas City, you better figure out a way to keep the football away from Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes. Don't try to outscore them. Mm-hmm. Don't try to Paul Westball with them and run up and down the court. You got to go in a different direction. I was really concerned that Nick didn't seem to figure that out. And we'll see if he learned from it against the Chiefs.
Yeah, the thing that I kept on banging my head against the wall with is that even after the game, he said that's the way the game went. Yesterday when he addressed the media, he said, or Wednesday when he addressed the media, he said that's the way the game went. I'm thinking it was 14-7 in the second quarter. Like it wasn't 41-0 in the second quarter. You could still mix in a run. You could still just call a run. And I heard a lot of people asking about the RPOs on Wednesday as well. And why not eliminate the O part of it? Why?
That's what I said. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant mindset. I asked Shane Steichen that today.
Okay.
Thursday at his press conference at the NovaCare Complex, I said, at some point, do you guys, I understand what Nick's saying. An RPO by design, there's a run option, there's a pass option. So you read the defender and it's up to Jalen Hurts to make the right decision. Nick says he's making good decisions. I'll take him at his word. At what point do you see Miles Sanders, one of your best playmakers, running the football 2 times and say, all right, you know what? I got to take the pass option out of the RPO. And just, it's not an indictable offense. There's some analytics nerds that would like it to be, but it is not yet an indictable offense to turn around and just hand the football to a running back. You have to do that at some point. And, you know, Nick Sirianni, and you probably heard this, Mark, said it's about players. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, which I agree with. If it's about players, get the ball to one of your best playmakers the easiest way possible. It's a simple answer to me.
Yeah, no, I 100% with you. And on Wednesday, also, you hear Jalen Hurts talk about how Miles Sanders is, without question, an integral part of their game plan, integral part of their offense. So, yeah, give him the football and you might have some success. Now, the other side of the ball here is something else that has a lot of concern here, because when you listen to Jonathan Gannon the other day address the media, he was talking about how they need to scheme better. They need to protect, have better, pass rush. They need to be able to cover better in the secondary. And now Patrick Mahomes is coming in here with a speedster by the name of Tyreek Hill and a slew of other weapons. How is Jonathan Gannon going to game plan this one, you think? Safeties back deep all the time like the Chargers, or what? How do you see this working out?
I would think. I mean, we've seen 3 weeks. We kind of know what Jonathan Gannon is at this point with this personnel. He's going to play a lot of zone, and he's going to put a lot on the plates of his defensive line and ask them to get home by themselves. And I don't think that's changing against Kansas City. I mean, because Tyreek Hill is just going to run by people. Even McCole Hardman is going to run by people. Travis Kelce down the seam. This is not the time to stop playing zone. This is the time you should amp up zone. So I think we kind of know what we're going to see from the defense. And that's try to limit big plays, and that's what they should do. They don't have the personnel in the back seven to say, all right, go cover Tyreek Hill one-on-one. They're just not at that point yet. I don't think anybody's at that point, by the way, with a player like Tyreek Hill. Right. One of my biggest concerns, though, was talk to a lot of defensive players this week. They're in awe of Tyreek Hill. They're in awe of Travis Kelce. They're in awe. I never like to see that. I go back. I'm too old. I go back. People will forget this, but I was covering the Vikings when they did essentially the pilot for what became Hard Knocks. And it was they followed the Vikings and the Cowboys the week before a game. And this was the great Cowboys teams, the Emmett, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin Cowboys. Right. And some of the Vikings were on that episode documentary just in awe of, Eric Williams, if people remember him, players like that. And I never think that's a good thing. It's great to have respect, but I sensed a little awe of certain playmakers. And the Vikings lost that game, by the way.
So there you go. One of the things I did appreciate was when Slay, do you call him Darius or do you call him Slay like he requested?
You gotta call him Slay. If you call him Darius, he'll correct you.
Every single time.
Yeah.
One of the things that he said earlier in the week, he was asked about Patrick Mahomes. Hey, have you seen a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes before? And he was like, yeah, well, I used to play in that division with that Aaron Rodgers fella, and he was pretty good at football. Even Matthew Stafford, when they were teammates at the Lions, would do the no-look passes and stuff like that. And that, to me, was right on point with what you're saying is, yes, I have seen this before. Yes, I realize and acknowledge that he's the best guy in the league right now, but he's doing things that I have seen before. Slay's attitude towards Patrick Mahomes, it left me feeling a little bit more confident, at least what
he was one. I agree with you. I agree with you because, I think it was, if you remember the DK Metcalf kerfuffle, somebody asked me on another show if Patrick Mahomes would take that as a slight. And I went back to DK Metcalf. Remember Jim Schwartz got in trouble for saying, hey, DK's doing a great job. He's not Calvin Johnson, but And DK Metcalf took that as a slight. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if somebody's comparing you to Calvin Johnson, that is not a criticism.
Right.
If somebody's comparing you to Aaron Rodgers and you're in the same sentence, that is not a criticism. So, players can use what they want if they want to use it as, bulletin board material, whatever you want to call it. If it works for them, great. But if anybody puts you up with a guy who is historically great, I don't take that as a criticism. I didn't see Slay criticizing Patrick Mahomes by saying, oh, by the way, I used to play Aaron Rodgers twice a year.
No, exactly. It's like, I don't know. In another sport, it's like, somebody wants to trade you for James Harden. James Harden's a pretty good basketball player. I wouldn't be offended by that.
Should have made that trade.
Should have made that trade. How do you think it goes? Overall prediction, what are you feeling right now going into the game on Sunday against the Chiefs? How do you think this plays out right now, given the information you have?
I can't. I mean, Kansas City, this is how I compare it. This is how I kind of think of it in my twisted mind, Mark. It's like the bully challenged you to a fight at 3:00. You ever see the movie 3 O'Clock High?
I have not seen 3 O'Clock High, no.
It's a good movie, but it's an older movie. But anyway, put it in the queue. It's worth watching. But, if the bully challenges you to a fight at 3:00, you got to show up, do the best you can. Now, imagine if he, stubs his toe twice on the way to the fight. So now you got the big, angry bully. And that's what the Eagles are facing. I don't know how Kansas City is 1-2, but they're 1-2. They're not going 1-3. Mm-hmm. They just are not going 1-3. The Eagles aren't in a position to compete with a team like this. I'm guessing 35-18 type of game. It's not going to be close.
Yeah, I'm right along those lines with you, my friend. It's not looking too hot, unfortunately. With all that being said, are we done with the Nick Sirianni pandering? Is that done? Like the Philly, the t-shirts, the bulletin board material, all that bulletin board material. Are we done with that? Is that done until this team starts winning again?
Well, all generic this week, all generic Eagles gear this week. I said Wednesday to the other reporters there, If Nick shows up in a Miles Sanders shirt, I will have a ton of respect for him. He didn't do it. I thought it was a perfect opportunity. He's worn a Miles Sanders shirt before.
He has.
Show up with the Miles t-shirt. Show him some support. I made a mistake. I got to get him the football. He probably got some advice from Bob Lang and showed up with the regular Eagles gear. So now we've already tempered down Nick Sirianni.
All right, so that's a win for us, I guess. And then lastly, I'm asking a lot of people this because I want to make sure that I'm not just completely crazy because, and I'm a little crazy, but not completely. I don't think at least. Doug Peterson and now Nick Sirianni are like, they didn't use Miles Sanders as much as I thought Miles Sanders should be used. I think Miles Sanders is a very good running back. Why is it now we've seen two coaches kind of put him on the back burner of this offense? Is he good enough to be a top tier running back in the NFL? Is he a middle of the road guy? I know the stats aren't there, but talent wise, what is Miles Sanders?
You're going to get me in trouble, Mark. I've gotten in trouble for this before.
Ooh,
so
okay.
What the hell? I'm going to get in trouble again. For some reason, a lot of Philadelphia fans have latched on to Miles Sanders. They're skipping steps. Miles Sanders is not Derrick Henry. He's not Dalvin Cook. He's not Christian McCaffrey. He's not Alvin Kamara. He's not a top-tier running back. What he is, he's a good runner. He's an explosive runner. He's a home run hitter. I compare him to Dave Kingman back in the day, where he's going to lead the league in home runs, but he's going to hit 230. Like when you block for 4 yards, you got to get 4 yards. Miles is always trying to kick it outside, trying to hit the home run. He's not the best pass receiver we know. He's not the big pass protector. So I do think people are skipping steps with him. I don't think he's a star player, but on this team right now, he's one of their best playmakers, and you got to get him the football. Mm-hmm. You're going to have some hiccups. You're going to have some bad plays, but you're also going to have the explosive plays. I say how I describe it, he's a really, really good runner. He's not a really, really good running back. He's very one-dimensional.
Okay. All right. I hope, I'll put it this way, John. You and I have him around the same. I have him ranked a little bit higher, and certainly not Derrick Henry or like that, but I hope he gets the opportunity to show fans he can be that good.
Oh, he could be. He's got tremendous talent. He could develop. He can get better. I just think people are skipping steps. They act like he's a star.
Yeah, he's not a cure-all. I don't think he's a cure-all to all the problems on this Eagles team, but I'd like to see him get the opportunity to at least let the stats, let the numbers start to catch up to how talented I think he is.
He's very talented. I agree with that. Very talented, but still needs to improve the aspects that nobody thinks about. When you hit home runs, everybody loves it. Everybody loves the 70-yard runs. But, when the 4 yards is there, you got to get me the 4 yards. Mm-hmm. Like the Cowboys. The Cowboys destroyed you with 6-yard runs, 7-yard runs, 8-yard runs. Their longest run in that game was 13 yards. That's it. Mm-hmm. But they got what was blocked, and that's what Miles has to do a little bit more consistently.
Just real quick, just name wise, what are you thinking? Left to right? Are you thinking Dillard, Driscoll, Herbig, Kelsey?
It's interesting. I created this controversy. I asked Nick Sirianni Wednesday, what are you going to do with guard? Because now Isaac Seumalo's out for the year. So they want Landon Dickerson to play. Mm-hmm. If they keep him at right guard, ultimately Brandon Brooks is going to be back, and they'll have to kick him to left guard. So I said, are you going to do that early and just keep him at left guard for the rest of the season? Nick went into this whole, I think I have a competitive advantage. I don't want to say that today. It was a big controversy at practice. We are not allowed to report who is going to be the starting offensive line, which is interesting, Mark.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I can't report it anyway. They were shuffling everybody. So there's 4 players we're talking about: Landon Dickerson, Nate Herbig, Jack Driscoll, Sua Opeta.
Yeah.
I am allowed to speculate, so I'm going to speculate. I think there's going to be 2 options. Landon's going to play. He's got a hip injury, but he's going to play.
All right.
So he's going to play right guard or left guard. If he plays left guard, I think it's going to be Jack Driscoll getting activated playing right guard.
Okay.
If he stays at right guard, I think it's going to be Sua Opeta at left guard. Those are, I think, your two options.
Got it.
Exactly.
Nice detective work. I think you should be organizing the offensive line, quite frankly, because I'm all for that, my friend. John McMullen, you do a phenomenal job, man, across all your platforms with Jacob Media, obviously, Sports Illustrated, Philly Voice. You do a fantastic job, and I do look forward to our conversations, as well as the host of Birds 365, that show. I do look forward to the conversations we get to have after the post-game show or after the game. On the live post-game show on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, as well as 6abc.com. John, it was good to be able to have you all to myself here, my friend, and just pick your brain. Thanks so much.
Love it. Love talking to you, Mark. Always, anytime.
Appreciate it, my friend. John McMullen joining us here on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. So I guess we can have John as our conduit to the offensive line, organize it, shuffle it. He and actually our friend Mike Kay, very similar thought processes when it comes to the offensive line. And here's the thing that both of them kind of echoed. The whole thing with Andre Dillard is such a pleasant surprise. But it's like almost on Andre Dillard's standard, is it almost too good to be true? Can we get two good games? 2 good games from Andre Dillard. And as far as Jonathan Gannon goes, I'm looking at what the Chargers did to Patrick Mahomes. They got great pressure. They blitzed a little bit, not a lot, not a crazy amount. And they kept Patrick Mahomes contained for the most part and got pressure on him. And it seems like you could always say this about any quarterback, but the great quarterbacks, they can deal with this usually. But if you look at what the Chargers did, a lot of what they did is what Todd Bowles did in the Super Bowl, which was just keep pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Make him, like, he makes those circus throws look routine a lot of times, but here's the thing, they're not routine. They're still difficult throws to make. So if you put a quarterback in a situation where he's got to continuously make difficult throws, he's going to make mistakes. His receivers are going to make mistakes. The offense as a whole is going to make mistakes. Now, relying on Patrick Mahomes to have 3 bad games. Look, he didn't even play terrible against the Ravens in that, was it a Monday night game or Sunday night game? Sunday night game. He didn't play terrible in that game. They had a bad turnover late in that game with Edwards-Helaire coughing it up, and the Ravens were able to end up going on winning it. But they have to cut down on their turnovers as a team, the Chiefs, because I don't see them continuously doing that. And Patrick Mahomes is going to find a way to beat pressure. Eventually, he's going to find a way to beat pressure. He's done it enough in his career. He's elusive enough in his career. He's been elusive enough. He is elusive enough. So I see him continuing that. I don't see Jonathan Gannon being able to keep up the pressure because I think he'd have to make a drastic change to his game plan, which unfortunately, for a guy that said he wasn't going to take the sting out of his defense, has taken the sting out of his defense. You can't, I just don't get, like, it's almost on the same level to me as continuously passing the football and never running it. How do you always just rely on your defensive line, no matter how good they are, without blitzing? Don't you want the quarterback to think that the rush is going to come from a spot he's not expecting? A weak side corner blitz, a weak side safety blitz, and a blind side. Like, never going to think about that. Because every once in a while, it can work. The one that always sticks out in my head is coming out of halftime in the NFC, divisional game against the Falcons, and Rodney McLeod, who was practicing this week, by the way. Jim Schwartz dialed up that safety blitz coming out of halftime against the Falcons, and it helped turn the tide of the game and keep it in the Eagles' favor. So, to me, that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a little bit of that, a little creativity from Jonathan Gannon to keep Patrick Mahomes guessing as to where the pressure could be coming from. They do that, maybe force some turnovers, and they'll have a chance to beat the Chiefs. Once again, my thanks to John McMullen joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Let me tell you about the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics. When you have orthopedic issues, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including their orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about our friends at BetQL? Are you doing the research? Are you getting the numbers? If you want the advantage over your sportsbook, you need BetQL, the only app where you'll need to make smart bets. Use their best bets computer model because they scan over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you best bet recommendations for every game across all major sports. And they give you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, player props as well. And if you don't want to use their model and prefer to do your own research, then just use the tools that BetQL provides. They have all the necessary tools for all the betting research that you need. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news, all that. And they even have a leaderboard to track your success. Head to the App Store and Google Play Store as well to download the app for BetQL. Oh, Steak and Maine, Friday, headed down to Maryland. Got a family reunion with me and my 21 first cousins, my 10 aunts and uncles, and all my cousins' kids. It'll be the first time that a lot of the little ones, because me and my cousins, we had a lot of kids around the same, like during pandemic. And it's the first time they're all getting together. So we look forward to seeing the next generation of this side of my family getting together. We're really pumped for it. And on the way down there, Steak and Maine. Tomahawk steak. 2-pound tomahawk steak. Pinot Noir. You know what I'll be having for lunch? That tomahawk steak with a nice little Pinot Noir. Yeah, that's right. My pregnant wife, she'll be driving. A little designated driver. And I'll have the sushi there as an appetizer. They have the amazing crab dip. Oh, my goodness. I told you about the crab dip before. It is fantastic. They sprinkle a little of that. I don't know if it's Old Bay. It's the Old Bay stuff. It's similar. You get the idea. Sprinkle that on the toasted bread. Dip that in the crab. Oh, phenomenal. Steak and Maine, steakandmaine.com. Treat yourself every once in a while, folks. Place is a gem. Voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself. Go to steakandmaine.com, hard in Northeast Maryland. They got a great steakhouse to eat in, great casual bar, great patio. Just phenomenal place. And don't forget about the rotating table in the back for big parties. Have yourself a time. Also want to tell you about my friends at WinView. This app is a lot of fun. A lot of fun to challenge your friends and see who knows the most. See if your friends can walk the walk and not just talk the talk. See if your relatives, your family members at dinner, you know what? See if they can walk the walk and not just talk the talk. You can do this with the WinView app, the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who knows more? And who's the bigger sports fan as well? During a quarter of Sunday, football, maybe you put a little bet down there on WinView. It's not a sports book, though. It's not daily fantasy. It's a great way to challenge friends and get in on WinView contests. It's a great time for seeing who knows more. Bragging rights, a little money as well involved with WinView. Good times with the WinView app. Make sure you download the WinView app right now. Have yourself a good time challenging your friends. And don't forget, follow all the Philadelphia sports across Philadelphia Sports Nation. That's PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Now let's jump into our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. Now, I mentioned earlier, producer Jim's computer exploded or something. So it's me producing the show today. So you know what that means? I get to put your comments up like this one from April. Vomit face emoji. That's a good one. All right, let's see what else. Let's start at the top here. April again. Hey, morning, friends. Good morning. Nick is saying good morning. Good morning to you. We got Gabe, who's just saying berserk. I believe that was from me earlier. Just saying that. What am I saying here? Oh, Mike, you're calling me the king? Thank you. That's very nice of you. Yeah, I think I'm really tempted just to put almost like a public service announcement together. And I think I want to do it after Ben's traded, because I got some criticism the other day for people saying I was hurting Ben Simmons' trade value because I said that congratulations, whoever is going to get Ben, you're getting somebody who never wants to improve past what he is right now. And what he is right now isn't good enough. I mean, you could be an MVP. It still bothers me. I'm not going to go down that road. But I said that the other day. And I said that because Ben tipped his hand by saying he didn't want to play with Joel anymore because their games didn't match up. They don't complement each other anymore. You know what? They would complement each other even more so than being a 1 seed in the Eastern Conference when playing together. They would complement each other more if Ben shot the basketball, because then you don't have two people occupy the same space. So You're getting a guy who's not going to improve. He's not going to change. He's not going to get a jump shot. He's certainly not getting threes. Doubt he'll even improve at the free throw line. So congratulations. But I want to put together a little something for maybe after Ben gets traded, because then I won't hurt his trade value. But a little PSA for a word of warning for anybody that's going to be traded for him. And I kind of went off on it a little bit yesterday by talking about why does this guy feel so entitled? And, well, it's because he didn't give a damn in college, was still the #1 overall pick. Didn't play his rookie season, quote unquote, still got rookie of the year. He scored 1 point in a playoff game, but yet they traded away Jimmy Butler the following year, after the year. Like, to me, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it, and my chronology is a little off there, but like, you get the idea. Sorry to go back on that tangent. Cecil, I could not agree with you more. We don't deserve, actually, no, screw that. We do deserve Joel Embiid. You know why? Because we need to get something out of this damn process. At least we have someone who's always entertaining, an MVP candidate. I'll take that. April saying, good for Joel. Someone needs to speak about it truthfully. I'm starting to think that Mike here was talking about Joel Embiid as the king and not me. But whatever, it's my show. I'll frame it how I want. I think this RJ, this is on the hammer. Is that on the hammer? Hey, guess what? Doing a little work on the set earlier. It's not all the tools I got back here, huh? That's right. Anyway, I'm a DeWalt man, so go ahead and send me free stuff. Anyway, what else? Let's see what else we have here. April, yeah. April said, "Oh, props. Yeah, I got plenty more of those." Mike just says Ben Simmons is such a little bee. I know what you mean. You're not wrong at all. I love comments that just say facts. No, April, my wife is asleep. She's not. Oh, actually, no. I think Lil Toots is up. Phillies. Oh, here we go, Ray. This is a long one, so I'll put this up on the board for the good people. Phillies need a total rebuild. Everyone's for sale. Try and get top prospects from all organizations, signing free agents and cutting it. Signing free agents is not cutting it. Fans weren't coming out this year anyhow, didn't believe. I mean, in all honesty, why would you? Why would you believe? I mean, I know that you're supposed to be a fan and you're supposed to blindly support the team and all that stuff, but like, we know better. That's one of the things I appreciate about this fan base. Again, not only are we always honest, but like, you can't sell us a bill of goods. Like we're not easily fooled. Like, we can spot fraud. And when you look at what the Phillies have done, you look at what has gone on over the last 10 years of not making the playoffs. Yeah, we kind of know what to expect now in September. As I said yesterday, we've seen this movie before. We know how it ends. So that's how we can look at it there. Let's see what else we have here. This is why Dan's not on today. Special projects, guys. Dan's a regular contributor to the show in our comment section here. So thanks, Dan. Enjoy your special projects. Hopefully it doesn't involve tools. If it does, good luck. RJ, dealing with a pissed off Patrick Mahomes, so the score will be 42-6. April's got him at 41-10 Chiefs. Please, someone tell Nick to stop pandering. Sean, I agree with you. Ooh, Polly Brown. Hi, Polly. 1,000-8. These are not far off, any of them. Let's see if I get this up here. PitchNet 5. Imagine refuse to improve your game to be able to win a ring with one of the best talented big men in the NBA, one of the most talented big men in NBA history. Yep. Don't know what the hell the problem is, and I don't know why my internet's crapping out on me. But anyway, let's get to our social media, or social media check. Let's get to our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars at SkyMotorcars.com. Here's what I got for you. Did you see this Bill Belichick thing? Did I put this up properly? I did. So Bill Belichick hosts Tom Brady coming back to New England this weekend, Sunday Night Football. Check this out.
Morning. What's going on? Got any stories this week?
Was that a joke? Did Bill Belichick just make a joke? Did you see that creepy face?
Morning. What's going on? Got any stories this week?
Yikes. That's a scary face. Flyers lost 4-2 to the Bruins, so that sucks. Flyers 0-2 in the preseason right now. They face Washington tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Joel Farabee had 2 goals last night for the Flyers, both their goals, as a matter of fact. Felix Sandstrom was in net for the Flyers, as was Martin Jones. That's Martin, not Martin. Yes, he is from Vancouver, or as I like to call it, Canadian Seattle. Shady McCoy retires as an Eagle. Oh, what could have been. What could have been if he would have stayed. Still the all-time leading rusher in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, which is insane. Phillies Marlins tonight, 7-10. Ranger Suarez goes against Sandy Alcantara. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. That was our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Be back with you on Monday. Eagles lose 30. I'm going to say 38 to let's say 13. Yeah. This will be fun. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday. Take it easy. Bye.